You think it's just soup? Pho is the obsession-level line-up outside the door, comfort in a bowl experience. It's rich, it's steamy, it's packed with flavor, and somehow still feels like a hug. But how did this Vietnamese street food become a global icon? And more importantly, how do you actually make it right? Stick around, because once you know the secret, there's no going back. The origins of pho. No one really agrees on where pho exactly came from. But one thing's for sure, it didn't start in a fancy restaurant. It started on the streets. Most food historians trace pho back to northern Vietnam in the early 20th century, around the Hanoi area. At the time, the French had colonized the region, and while that era was complicated, it did leave a culinary footprint. Some say the French dish pot au feu, a beef stew, inspired the slow-simmered beef broth. Others point to Chinese-style noodle soups as a major influence. And then came the genius part, combining Vietnamese herbs, rice noodles, slow-cooked beef bones, and spices like star anise and cinnamon into one perfect bowl. Just like that, pho was born. Though no one really called it pho at first. Some believe the name came from the French word for fire. Others say it came from Cantonese street vendors calling out another dish that means beef and noodles. Pho was simple, affordable, and deeply satisfying. Street vendors carried pots on shoulder poles, serving bowls right on the sidewalk. And it wasn't just food. It was survival, comfort, and warmth, all in one ladle. Then came 1954. Vietnam was split into North and South, and so was pho. Southern Vietnam added more herbs, more sweetness, and a touch of flair. Northern pho stayed minimal. No frills, just broth and beef. That's why you'll still hear people argue over which version is better. But here's the secret most people don't know. Both versions are incredible. It's just a matter of how you like to fall in love with your soup. And once pho started traveling the world, it was game over for every other soup on the menu. Ready to find out what actually goes into that addictive bowl? Let's break it down. The anatomy of pho. So what makes pho so addictive? It's not just soup, it's a layered, carefully built masterpiece. And every part of the bowl has a job to do. First, the broth. This is the soul of pho. Made by simmering beef bones, usually marrow bones or knuckle bones, for hours. Sometimes 6, sometimes 12, sometimes longer. And it's not just about the bones. Roasted onions, charred ginger, star anise, cloves, cinnamon, cardamom. Each spice adds depth, warmth, and something that makes your whole kitchen smell like comfort. The key is clarity and depth. You want a broth that looks clean but tastes like it's been simmering for generations. Then, the noodles. Pho uses bon pho, flat rice noodles that are soft but still springy. They shouldn't clump or dissolve. They should slurp. The noodles are usually blanched quickly before serving, just to get them warm and loose, then layered under the broth. And of course, the meat. Traditional pho bo includes thinly sliced raw beef, usually eye of round, that cooks in the hot broth. But there are also options like brisket, beef tendon, tripe, meatballs, or even oxtail. Every choice brings a new texture and flavor. You can go minimal or go full carnivore. It's your bowl. But we're not done yet. Now come the herbs. This is where Southern-style pho shows off. Fresh Thai basil, cilantro, sawtooth herb, bean sprouts, lime wedges, sliced chilies. You add what you want, how you want it. You personalize your bowl like it's your signature. And then, the condiments. Hoisin for sweetness, sriracha for heat, fish sauce for that salty punch. Some purists say skip them and let the broth speak. Others, they build their own flavor symphony on top. There's no right way to pho, only your way. But here's something wild. None of this matters if the broth isn't built right. And people around the world fell in love with pho not because of noodles or toppings, but because of that broth. Which raises the question, how did this street soup from Vietnam end up becoming a global icon? That's coming up next. Pho's global takeover. Pho didn't stay in Vietnam. It couldn't. It was too good. After the Vietnam War, many Vietnamese families left the country and brought their recipes, and their pho, with them. At first, it popped up in tight-knit communities in the US, France, Australia, and Canada. Just little neighborhood restaurants serving steaming bowls of pho homesick immigrants who needed a taste of where they came from. But then, everyone else discovered it. Suddenly, pho wasn't just a comfort food, it was a movement. A warm, slurpable rebellion against bland takeout and overly complicated menus. People who'd never heard of star anise were suddenly obsessed with finding the best pho joint in town. Food bloggers were ranking broths. Celebs were eating it on travel shows. Even chefs who normally didn't look twice at soup were talking about this Vietnamese noodle dish that somehow punched above its weight. And yes, the internet helped. Instagram shots of photogenic pho bowls, YouTube street food tours of Hanoi's early morning vendors, TikTok chefs showing quick versions that somehow still hit. The world didn't just accept pho, it devoured it. Of course, as pho went global, it also started to change. Chefs fused it with ramen, some added miso, some turned it vegan, and others, well, let's just say not every remix hits. But through it all, the core stayed the same. Broth, noodles, meat, herbs, heat, comfort. And if you think pho's reach has peaked, you might want to check your local grocery store freezer section. Now, the question is, can you actually make it at home? The answer's coming up. And yes, we're about to get into bones, blisters, and big flavor. How to make pho at home without losing your mind. Let's be real. Making pho at home is a commitment, but once you nail that first bowl, you're not going back to takeout. Step 1. The bones. Beef marrow bones and knuckle bones are your best friends. Some people roast them for deeper flavor, others don't. You do you. But either way, blanch them first. Boil for a few minutes, toss the water, rinse the bones. This keeps your broth from turning into murky mystery sludge. Step 2. The aromatics. You're going to char onions and ginger until they're blackened. This adds smokiness. Then come the spices: star anise, cloves, cinnamon, cardamom, coriander seeds. Toast them gently, then toss them into the pot. Bonus points if you tie them in a spice bag or cheesecloth so you're not fishing them out later like a lost treasure hunt. Step 3. The simmer. Low and slow. Like really slow. At least 6 hours. Some people go 12. This is where the magic happens. The collagen melts, the flavor deepens. Your kitchen smells like a Vietnamese grandmother has moved in and is judging your posture. Step 4. Skimming. Keep the broth clean. Skim off the scum that rises to the top. It's not glamorous, but it makes all the difference. Step 5. Seasoning. This happens at the end, not the beginning. Add fish sauce and rock sugar to taste. The broth should be savory, slightly sweet, and punchy enough to stand on its own. If you have to drown it in hoisin to make it work, something went wrong. Now bring in the noodles. Rice noodles, medium width, soaked and blanched. Then the beef, raw slices of eye-round if you're feeling fancy, or brisket, meatballs, or tendon for that rich, chewy bite. Top it with Thai basil, scallions, cilantro, lime, and bean sprouts. Maybe a splash of sriracha if you like heat. Maybe not. You're in charge now. And just like that, you've built a bowl of pho from scratch. But don't let the calm surface fool you. That bowl is doing a lot more than just feeding you. Because for many people, pho isn't just food. It's something way deeper. Let's talk about that next. Pho is more than food. For some, pho is a trendy soup in a pretty bowl. For others, it's a national treasure. In Vietnam, pho isn't just eaten, it's lived. Early mornings on bustling street corners, metal stools clinking, steam rising from giant pots. It's not just breakfast, it's a ritual. Families gather, strangers slurp side by side. No phones, no rush, just broth, noodles, and quiet satisfaction. It's also a dish shaped by history. During hard times when resources were scarce, pho stretched far. A few bones, some noodles, a handful of herbs. Somehow, it was always enough. Pho became a symbol of survival, of comfort and chaos. And in Vietnamese households around the world, pho is a way to stay connected to roots. It's what gets made when everyone comes home. It's the first thing someone learns to cook to feel close to a parent, a grandparent, a country they've never even seen. Even the act of making pho, long, slow, patient, is a kind of meditation. It forces you to slow down, to care, to wait. And that might be what makes it so addictive. Yes, it tastes amazing. Yes, it's customizable and craveable. But underneath all that, it feels like home. And if that's not addictive, what is? Still simmering. So now you know, pho isn't just a soup, it's a story. One that's been simmering for over 100 years and still tastes like it was written this morning. Whether you're chasing that perfect clear broth or experimenting with your own twist, just know this: every bowl of pho is a little different. And that's the beauty of it. You've got the tools. You've got the secrets. All that's left is to make it yours. And who knows, somewhere out there, another legendary dish is waiting for its turn. We'll get to that soon.